Beauties and cuties, what is up and how are you doing? This is your favorite struggling R&B producer, Valentine the Plug, and as y'all can see, we are in my studio, and a couple of things are different. First, I'm here with my guitar. I haven't made the sample yet, so we're starting off from scratch. Second, I'm not using my typical lighting setup. I felt like using regular schmegular, just daylight, you know, that suffices. I do want to take y'all through the process of actually making a guitar sample. I feel like doing that today, so we're going to be focusing on that a lot more than just making a beat. So the chords that I'm going to be working with, I'm actually heading over to the 7th fret here. That is an E minor 7 chord. Transitions into a C major 7 chord. I like using this shape instead of the shape on the 3rd fret, because that allows me to transition into that E minor 9th a lot more easier. And then there's this D chord. Boom, so that's basically it. So it gets me... That's basically it. Super simple chord progression, but it's super invocative. So one tip that I want to give for everybody that's looking to get into making guitar samples is to learn how to play around your limitations. A lot of us, especially when beginning guitar, we won't probably be even able to make chords, but we do know how to play a couple of notes, and at the very least you'll be able to play slide notes and hammer-ons. And what really helped me was to just start incorporating little bits and pieces of guitar into my beats until I was finally able to fluently play chord progressions that I either come up with or ones that I borrow from videos, of course. And it took me a while. I think it took me about 6 months in order to become fully confident in actually playing guitar. But you will get there, and you will... At first, you will probably be amazed at how little you can do, but how big that is in addition to a beat. Even just a little, you know, even this may just give a touch to your beat that is just so big, you know. So don't be discouraged because you are limited in your playing ability, because it might just have a big impact on your beat. Alright, so you can see I'm wearing my headphones, and that is that because I'll be recording directly into the mic, and I don't want the metronome to be recorded as well, because that will be a waste of a good guitar play. So that's why. So as for recording, what I'll be doing is I'll be taking out this mixer channel, and I'll probably be switching over to my universal audio interface and just set it to the correct input so that it'll record directly into my microphone. I'm recording it bare, nothing on it, no guitar rig, no amp, just basically straight into the mic, and then I add one of my presets to just tweak it a little bit. So what I'll probably be doing, I'll switch over to my interface. After that, I'll just highlight this so that it keeps looping within this region, have the metronome turn on, and I'll choose record into the playlist as an audio clip. That's what I'll be doing. These are steps that you can remember once you're finally getting to recording your own guitar samples, which I of course definitely encourage. 10/10 experience, would recommend. Alright, so I got my guitar, hold on, thank you. I got my guitar pattern right here, and it's good, it's bona fide. However, I did have to punch in the little diminished chord here at the end, and beautiful people, please don't be fooled. It is perfectly normal for takes to be spliced together in order to make an actual loop. So what I'm doing here, I'm hitting Control-Alt-C, I think it's Command-Alt-C on a Mac, to consolidate the track so that I have one entire track. I'm gonna set it to stretch because I might be playing with the tempo just a little bit, and this is what it sounds like right now. So it's okay. It's all right. It's not perfect. It wasn't my best take, but it's the take that I know that I can work with. So yeah. Now I do have a lot of recordings here on the side, so I'm just going to use a macro. I'm going to Tools, Macros, Purge Unused Audio Clips, and boom. The only thing remaining is the full consolidated take. Now, I feel like adding some electric guitar. So I'm gonna take off these headphones, put away this baby. You've done enough. I'm gonna take out my electric guitar just to add some little bit more, embellishments and sauce. All right, so the electric guitar has entered the chat, and the game plan is actually just to stick to arpeggiated chords. But some hammer-ons at the end, just to add that tad bit of sauce, and then I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of improvising as well. Cool, so I won't be using my microphone actually to record this, since this cable, which is routed from my guitar to my interface, is going directly into my interface. I've got my guitar rig set up right here. I've shown this before, but it doesn't hurt. High wide cab, match cab, vintage verb, tremolo, which I'm actually going to turn off because I don't really need it. A treble booster, and that's kind of it. Nothing too spectacular. Gonna turn up the reverb just a little bit. Now I'm gonna switch over to my interface in FL Studio, and then I'm gonna just record a little bit of sauce. Alright, so eventually I made an executive call and I decided not to do the improvisation, because at a certain point you have to realize that you're adding elements that don't really contribute, or elements that are already in the beat, and you're just adding an extra layer, and sometimes that extra layer is good to make it sound more full, to get a full sample, but I don't think the improvisation would add anything that wasn't already there. So no on that. So I got a layer consisting of piano, acoustic guitar, electric guitar. Of course, you already know I'm going to be looking for a vocal sample to go with that. And then I just want to lay down some drums, just for the sake of having a concept. So let's get it popping. So, funny story, I hardly look for vocal samples on Splice in the R&B genre. I mostly look for them in trap, because I feel that the vocal samples there are much more expressive, much more darker, much less pop, much less chopped up, much less generic. So that's my go-to actually. So I found a kit right here which has amazing vocal samples in the key that I'm working with. I wrote this actually in F minor, but relative major keys and all that. So C major works as well. So I took out a lot of them. I am arranging them in my beat right now. I just have to set the tempo and stuff, but they work amazingly well. So some of them I'm going to filter out heavily, and one of them I'm going to keep as a hook. So we got kind of a summer-ish pop song R&B vibe going on. Alright, so that vocal sample is chillin'. Let me play what I got for y'all with and without the processing. I be out of my mind most days, I don't know. So why don't we go add a little bit of processing onto the guitars. I prefer to use presets because mostly, these presets are tailor-made for the room that I record them in and for the sound that I'm going for. So 9 out of 10 times there's not a lot that I have to tweak about them. With my acoustic guitar, it's just mostly reverb, adding some wetness to it. That's very important with my acoustic guitar. So right now it should be sounding like this. And lately, what I feel is very important to add, which actually should be coming after my EQ, is a multiband compressor, because a multiband compressor does allow me a lot more degree of control over the individual frequencies and mostly the mid frequency. And using a multi-band compressor just helps me achieve to get a more level signal in terms of frequencies. And I'm not scared to you really go all out on the compression. Same also goes for my electric guitar. I have a very extensive preset that I used. I'm probably going to take off the RC20 and the doubler because I don't really need them, especially not for this particular beat. The doubler goes, and it's mostly compressor as well. And I'm going to set this one to the multi-band as well. So I'm browsing to my C drive looking for the one 808 that I really like to use, which is a 808 that I tweaked a little bit. I took a template, I ran it in Sublab, and I tweaked it a little bit. It's the 808 that I like using when I'm looking for a really deep subby 808. I'm gonna send it to channel 2. I'm gonna load up an EQ, and I'm gonna also load up Devil Lock, because that's what I use to add a little bit more distortion, a little bit more harmonics, very gently. It's mostly to just get that upper end where all the growl of the 808 is, to really get that bumping. I'm not a fan of a lot of distortion on the 808s because 9 out of the times you really shouldn't be using that, but nonetheless. So let's lay down that 808. So as you just heard, I got a pretty dope groove going on, which definitely needs to be supplemented with some perks. I'm gonna make a separate, another kick pattern actually, because I want to differentiate between the one that has a lot of bounce and the one that's actually more relaxed and a lot less intense. And that means also making a different 808 pattern where I remove some of the notes. It's actually just one different thing, so that's cool. And this definitely needs a hi-hat pattern with 16th notes because the beat is going to be picking up in intensity. It's kind of got that summer R&B kind of vibe, but it's also got that free-spirited pop kind of vibe. It's kind of giving me cruising on the beach, but also pool party vibes. I dig it. I really mess with it. This is definitely Ty Dolla $ign, 100. It's got that smoothness, it's got that tension, it's got that. This is definitely Ty Dolla $ign, bro. Woo! Beauties and cuties, all that's really left to do is the arrangement, but man, we made a dope sample and y'all got to see me lay down that dope goodness, you know, with a chord progression that I got from a video. And with that being said, you know, inspiration comes from various different sources, and please, you know, don't be picky about what you choose as your inspiration, because a good idea is a good idea nonetheless, you know. And I get that we are very much focused on being able to make our own chord progressions, but even if you get inspiration from somewhere else and you pay homage to it, you know, you don't claim it as your own, you pay homage to it, that's fine too, because that is also a learning experience. Knowing what constitutes a good chord progression, turning it into a beat, you know, figuring out why it works, it's an efficient way of learning. So thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, because I definitely enjoyed making this beat. And you know, if y'all liked it, drop a comment, share it with your homeboys, your homegirls, whomever. And be sure to stay tuned for the next video. Y'all be easy. Peace.